They figured he was just another old black man, quiet, alone, easy to push around. Just someone filling up at a near-forgotten gas station. But when one of them crossed the line and put hands on him, the words he spoke were enough to freeze them all. No fists. No chaos. Just a voice that made every one of them back down without a second thought. It was a scorcher of an afternoon in rural Georgia, the kind of heat that made the pavement shimmer like it might melt under your feet. Raymond Triggs eased his old Ford pickup into a worn-out gas station just off Highway 92. Nothing fancy. 2 fuel pumps, a dusty ice chest under a flickering cold drinks sign, and a sun-bleached bench leaning against the front wall. Quiet. Unassuming. Just the kind of place Raymond preferred. 68. And still built like a man who could lift more than he let on, Raymond moved with a calm deliberateness. Not slow from weakness, just wise enough to know there was no rush in peace. He wore a faded Navy veteran cap, plain gray t-shirt, and old jeans that had seen better days. His dark skin bore the sun's long memory, and his eyes carried a depth few dared to ask about. He didn't smile often, but when he did, it had weight. He stepped out, grabbed the pump, and began fueling his truck, just minding his business. Then came the sound. Loud engines. Music thudding like a second heartbeat. 5 motorcycles rolled in like they owned the world. Chrome-heavy machines, the kind that thundered rather than purred. Raymond gave a glance, then turned back to the pump. He'd seen their type before. Loud. Showy. Hungry for attention. He wasn't interested. They parked in a row, making an entrance. Black vests, heavy boots, tattoos climbing up their necks and forearms. A mixed bunch, mostly white, varying in age but equal in attitude. One kicked a crushed can across the lot. Another spat near Raymond's pump. Still no words, but the air shifted. Tension hummed low and steady, like a distant storm. Inside, the cashier peeked nervously through a gap in the blinds. Across the street, a woman loading groceries into her trunk paused mid-motion. Eyes turned away. No one wanted to get involved. Raymond didn't so much as blink. He kept pumping gas, gaze fixed on the numbers climbing slowly. Then the biggest one approached. Broad shoulders, thick beard, vest hanging half open, and a toothpick twitching between his teeth like it meant something. He stepped in close. Too close. "You even old enough to be driving that thing," he said, smirking. "Ain't no one told you this here's biker turf?" Raymond didn't answer. Didn't look. Just capped the tank with the same calm air he'd carried since he pulled in. The biker laughed, sharp and ugly. "Oh, you got jokes? Think that little vet hat makes you special, huh?" Still no response. Another one wandered over, leaner, younger, mouthy. "What's the matter, Grandpa? Need help waddling back to your ride?" The big one edged even closer, shoulder brushing Raymond's. A nudge. A test. The kind of thing meant to provoke. Everything got real quiet. Raymond turned, slow, steady, and looked the man in the eye. No fear. No flinch. Just presence. That look gave the biker pause. He'd come expecting nerves, maybe a stammer. He got something entirely different. Behind him, the others chuckled, but not as loud this time. Unease crept in. One of them muttered, "He's gonna crack." But Raymond didn't budge. Instead, he spoke. Calm. Low. Certain. "I'd take 2 steps back if I were you," he said, voice like worn stone, "while you still got both feet to stand on." No yelling. No threat. Just a truth that landed hard. The way he said it, it was like time itself paused. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Inside the station, the cashier ducked out of sight. Across the road, a car window slid shut. Still, Raymond didn't move. The big biker stood there, uncertain. He'd been in plenty of scrapes, but this felt different. Something about the moment didn't line up with the usual script. For a long beat, the air between them was still, like a coin balanced perfectly on its edge, waiting to tip. The biker's eyes narrowed. He wasn't used to being told to back off, especially not by a man twice his age. In his world, respect came from force, not calm words. But this older man with the quiet fire in his eyes, he wasn't rattled. He wasn't trying to posture. And that shook him. Then the smaller one, the loudmouth with the skull bandana pulled down under his chin, tried to stir things back up. "Come on, Rex. You gonna let this old guy talk to you like that? He needs a little wake-up call." He stepped in and slapped the brim of Raymond's cap, quick and disrespectful. It turned Raymond's head slightly with the impact, but his feet never shifted. He raised one hand slowly and smoothed the front of the cap with deliberate care, as if it meant more to him than anything else in the world. And it did. That cap had been with him for over 4 decades, through war zones, surgeries, funerals. It wasn't just fabric. It was memory. He looked up at the man who touched it and said, evenly, "You get one more chance. Lay a hand on me again, and you'll find out what most folks forgot. I still remember how to handle myself." He didn't raise his voice, didn't bark or threaten, but something about the way he said it made it land hard. A few of the bikers chuckled, but it was nervous now. Thin. Forced. Even Rex didn't move. He was trying to make sense of what he was feeling, like he was standing in the wrong scene of the movie. Raymond wasn't bluffing. He wasn't posturing. He was calculating. He'd been in real ambushes, the kind where silence meant survival. He'd seen tough men fall apart when reality hit harder than ego. And he saw it now in the gang's shifting stance, in the way their mouths stayed loud while their eyes betrayed doubt. One of them lifted a phone, pretending to film. "Yo, look at this. Grandpa trying to be a badass. This'll go viral." But no one joined in the laugh. The tension stayed thick, stretched taut. Then the mouthy one snapped. He shoved Raymond, hard, in the chest. Not a bump. A real push crossing that invisible line from taunt to attack. Raymond's foot slid back half an inch. That was it. He didn't stumble. Didn't lose balance. Just squared up again. "I've buried younger men with more honor than you'll ever know," he said, locking eyes. And the parking lot froze. Even the air seemed to hush. Rex didn't move. He'd seen enough real fights to know when something wasn't adding up. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. The old man wasn't afraid. He wasn't trying to escape. He was ready, and that scared them. "You think you're some kind of tough guy?" the loudmouth asked, his voice cracking slightly. Raymond tilted his head. "You ever seen someone's hands stop shaking after their third firefight in a jungle you can't even spell? Ever had to bring back a buddy's dog tags and a sock because that's all you could find of him?" Silence. No one spoke. The door of the station creaked open just a crack, the cashier, watching from behind safety, trying not to be seen. Raymond stepped forward. Not quick. Not aggressive. Just steady. And the gang, they stepped back. All but Rex. He held his ground, eyes scanning Raymond like he was trying to decode something ancient. Something dangerous. Raymond stopped a few feet short. "You've got 2 options," he said, voice low. "You can walk away with what dignity you've got left, or you can leave a piece of yourself right here on this blacktop." Rex didn't blink. But Raymond saw it, the swallow, the hesitation. And that was all he needed to know. The real fight? It was already over. Rex didn't respond right away. His breathing slowed. His fists were still balled, but not clenched so tight. Raymond remained still. Calm. Not flinching. Not baiting. Just waiting. "You think I'm scared of some old vet?" Rex finally muttered. Raymond didn't answer. Just looked at him, the way a man looks at a barking dog behind a fence. More tired than threatened. Rex stepped forward again, trying to recover his edge. "You think that cap makes you somebody?" Raymond stayed quiet. Then, in a tone so flat and steady it cut sharper than any yell, he replied, "You ever stand still holding a rifle while mortars fall 50 feet from your head? Ever smelled hot steel and flesh in the same breath of air? I'm not talking slick, son. I'm talking real." Rex blinked. A couple of the bikers shifted their feet. One looked away completely. Raymond leaned in, just enough for his next words to be private. "You've got fire. But it's reckless. No control. All heat, no direction. You take a swing at a man like me, and I'll make sure you leave here wondering why you ever started it." Rex froze. It wasn't the words themselves. It was the weight behind them, like Raymond had lived everything he was saying, like it wasn't a threat. It was a memory. Then Raymond stepped back, giving Rex space. "I'm not your enemy," he said, "but I buried mine. Don't get the two confused." Silence. Raymond turned toward his truck again, slow, deliberate. Not because he needed to, but because he was giving them a moment. One last choice. He opened the door and reached inside, just for a rag to wipe his hands. But even that small movement made one of the younger bikers flinch. "You just gonna let him walk away?" the mouthy one hissed. "We're just letting him punk us now?" Rex didn't say anything. His eyes were still locked on Raymond. Raymond turned slightly, nodding toward the younger man. "You want to prove something? Get in a ring. Fight someone trained. But out here." He motioned to the concrete. "This isn't a ring. This is real life. And real comes with consequences." The mouthy one quieted. Raymond took a step forward, calm and centered. "You think I'm scared of blood? Mine? Someone else's." He tapped his chest. 4-inch scar, got it pulling a friend out of a burning Humvee. "You ready for that kind of pain? You got the stomach for it?" No one answered. You want to act hard? Fine. But when your mama gets a call that her boy bled out in a parking lot cause he didn't know when to walk away, who's going to explain that to her? The group stiffened. Rex finally spoke, his voice lower, more grounded. You military? Raymond nodded. Navy. Special tactics. 27 years. 2 tours in Nam. 1 in the Gulf. I'm not proud of every part of it, but I'm still here. And I never had to yell to prove I could fight. Rex looked down, then up again. We didn't know. You weren't supposed to, Raymond replied. That's the problem. Boys trying to act like men never stop to ask who they're dealing with. Rex took a full step back. That's when the tension broke. The heat of it all lifted. You could feel the shift, like gravity lightning. Raymond turned to his truck. This time, he opened the door and said over his shoulder, Any of y'all still feel like testing your luck? I'm right here. No one moved. Not a soul. Rex stood still, caught between the loud world he usually commanded and the quiet world Raymond came from. A world of rules, of experience, of truth earned the hard way. No one spoke. Just the faint hum of a neon open sign and the hiss of a gas pump resetting in the distance. Raymond climbed into the truck slowly, not because he had to, because he was giving them one last moment to decide who they were going to be. And he didn't. Raymond didn't slam the door. He didn't screech off like some movie cliché. He just sat there for a moment, engine humming, one hand resting on the wheel, eyes straight ahead. The biker crew hadn't moved, and that silence spoke louder than any outburst. The loudmouth, now visibly rattled, nudged a small stone with his boot. Man, let's just go. Ain't worth it. Big Rex didn't respond. His arms were still crossed, but the tension in his shoulders had loosened. The swagger he'd walked in with was dissolving, something else settling in its place. Respect, maybe, or confusion, maybe both. Raymond rolled the window down halfway and looked their way. His voice wasn't raised, but it cut through everything. I never asked y'all to fear me, just to let me be. No preaching, just plain truth. And somehow, that landed harder than any fist. One of the younger guys, couldn't have been more than 22, glanced at Rex. Yo, I think I know that guy. My cousin said he used to teach self-defense at the sheriff's department. That's gotta be him. Rex turned slowly, face unreadable. You serious? The kid nodded. Said he once disarmed a guy with a blade in under 3 seconds. Barely moved. Like it was nothing. Rex exhaled, rubbing his jaw. Knew something was off. Felt it when he looked at me. Behind them, the gas station door creaked open. The cashier stepped out, a wiry man with a cigarette tucked between his fingers, his shirt stained with sweat and old grease. He didn't say anything right away. Just stood there, eyeing the group like he'd seen it all before. Then, without looking at anyone in particular, he said, Y'all might want to listen to Mr. Triggs. He's not a man you test. He's seen things we wouldn't survive seeing. The bikers turned to him, surprised. You know him? Rex asked. The cashier took a slow drag. He saved my cousin back in '93. Car flipped. Engine caught fire. Ray pulled him out with a busted knee and nothing but grit. Didn't even wait for the ambulance, just vanished. Raymond didn't say a word. Let the story hang there in the warm, humid air. Didn't even know it was him till years later, the cashier added. Never bragged, never claimed it. That sealed it. The laughter and bluster were gone. Even the toughest among them avoided eye contact now. Rex cleared his throat. Yes, we read this one all wrong. Raymond finally looked over. Mistakes happen. What you do after, that's what counts. For the first time, Rex didn't puff up. He just nodded, subdued. We'll get out of your way. Raymond gave a single nod back. Quiet. Firm. One by one, the bikers started mounting up. Engines roared to life again, but now they didn't sound like a threat, just a retreat, and a respectful one. The youngest turned before leaving, curiosity flickering in his eyes. Sir, if you don't mind, what did you used to do? For real. Raymond didn't smile, didn't brag, just looked at the kid and said, what I had to. And I hope you never have to. The kid nodded, then followed the others out. Within seconds, the station was still again, just the neon buzz and the soft ticking of heated metal cooling on Raymond's hood. The cashier chuckled once. Same OL, Triggs. Still got that voice that shuts a man down cold. Raymond stepped out, closed the truck door behind him, and said, ain't the voice. It's the life behind it. The air had shifted. The dust from the tires drifted into the heavy Georgia heat like smoke after a brush fire. Raymond leaned against the truck, arms folded, letting the quiet settle. Inside, the cashier shut the register, then stepped out again. Been a long time since someone made Rex back down, he said. And you didn't even raise your voice. Raymond shrugged. Never needed to, not when it matters. The man took a seat on the bench, swatting at a fly. You still living out past the ridge? Same house since '81. You keep to yourself. A man's peace doesn't come from the quiet around him. Comes from what he's already walked through. The cashier, Tag read, folks called him Tag, nodded. Not like he fully understood, but like he knew better than to pretend he did. That stuff you said about mortars. Was that real? Raymond didn't even blink. Every word. I stopped pretending years ago. Tag took a slow drag. I remember when your boy shipped out. Terrence, right? He ever make it back? Raymond stared down the road, watching some kids ride their bikes past the edge of the lot. Didn't make it out of Kandahar. Got the flag, the tags, and a letter that didn't make it through 3 paragraphs. Tag looked down. I'm sorry. Raymond didn't respond. Didn't need to. Pain don't get lighter with time. Just gets quieter. The wind shifted, carrying that same old southern stillness. Tag spoke after a bit. Town used to say you trained with the Black Ops crowd. The ones who don't have files. Raymond gave a faint smile, but it didn't touch his eyes. Most of what I did doesn't exist on paper. That's how they wanted it. Tag hesitated. You ever, take a life? Raymond didn't flinch. War doesn't care about your questions. Doesn't pause for your conscience. You do what you must to come home. And when you do, that's when the real fight starts. What do you mean? Raymond looked him in the eye. Try going to church Sunday morning after what you had to become just to survive. That's the fight no one trains you for. Tag didn't answer. Raymond stepped off the truck and walked toward the porch, boots thudding softly against the pavement. I've seen boys younger than those bikers cry for their mothers with shrapnel in their chests. I've seen men die with their mouths too full of dirt to scream. I didn't come back here to play hero. Just wanted to live quiet. Tag flicked his ash. You ever think about leaving? Starting fresh? Raymond shook his head. Doesn't matter where I go. I carry the same weight. Might as well carry it where I've got roots. The gas pump beeped. Someone else had pulled in. Life moved on. Tag didn't move. Why didn't you fight them? You had every reason. Raymond met his gaze again, the calm fire still burning. Because real strength isn't about proving you can break someone. It's about knowing you could and choosing not to. Tag nodded. Damn. Ain't about damn, Raymond said with a half smile. It's about knowing when a lesson does more good than revenge. They stood there, saying nothing else. Some truths don't need repeating. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the lot, turning the pavement gold. Raymond stepped away from the porch and headed back to his truck. The moment had passed, but something still lingered in the air. Unspoken, but understood. Across the lot, a black SUV pulled in. The window rolled down, revealing a tall, clean-shaven man in a tan sheriff's uniform. He leaned out, scanning the lot, eyes catching on Tag, and then Raymond. You Raymond Triggs? He called out. Raymond didn't flinch. Still am. The sheriff stepped out, adjusting his belt. Got a call. Somebody thought trouble was brewing. Said a group of bikers was looking for it. Tag raised a hand. It's handled. The sheriff looked at Raymond, then back at Tag. Handled, huh? Tag nodded. Let's just say they ran into someone they couldn't intimidate. Raymond stayed silent. The sheriff smirked, walking over. Figured it had to be you. Dispatch said something about a veteran's cap and 5 guys backing down. Sounded like Ray Triggs to me. Raymond shrugged. Didn't go looking for trouble. Yeah, the sheriff said, smiling faintly. But trouble knows where to find you. You good? He asked. Raymond nodded. I'm good. The sheriff gave him a look. Word'll get around. Those boys won't be back. Raymond's voice was quiet, but steady. They weren't bad kids. Just haven't learned yet. Loud doesn't mean strong, Raymond said quietly. The sheriff raised an eyebrow. You always did know how to hit harder with words than with fists. Raymond didn't answer. He simply opened his truck door. Just before climbing in, he turned to the sheriff. Your old man still teaching over at the academy? The sheriff smiled. Retired last year. Still sharp, though? Taught me how to clear a room without losing one of my own. His voice softened. Used to tell stories about you. Said you were the sharpest he ever trained. Not just good with your hands, you read people. Read the room. Raymond gave a slow nod. Still do. The sheriff took a step back toward his SUV. Take care of yourself, Mr. Triggs. You too. As the SUV rolled off, Raymond sat behind the wheel again. He reached for the key, but then something caught his eye in the rearview mirror, a figure walking toward him. It was the youngest biker. No motorcycle now. Just a helmet in his hand, moving slow, unsure. Raymond rolled down the window as the kid approached. "Didn't expect you to come back," Raymond said, not surprised. The kid stood near the truck, boots scraping the pavement. I wanted to say something." Raymond waited. "I don't know what I was thinking earlier," the kid said. "We thought it'd be funny. Just messing around. But when you looked at us, I'd never felt anything like that. Like I was standing in front of something I wasn't ready for." Raymond nodded. "Because you weren't." The kid looked up. "How do you stay so calm?" Raymond paused before answering. "Life. And the people I lost because I didn't stay calm when I should have." The kid swallowed hard. "I want to be better. I'm tired of acting tough just to keep up with guys like Rex." Raymond studied him. Saw the fear, the shame, but also a crack in the wall. A place where something could grow. "You've got time," Raymond said. "But it starts when you stop chasing fights and start listening to the ones you've already lost." The kid nodded, eyes damp. "Thank you, sir." Raymond gave him a steady look. "Next time someone offers you peace, don't meet it with noise. Meet it with respect. You'll live longer." The kid didn't say another word, just turned and walked away, helmet swinging at his side. Raymond started the truck and eased out onto the road, no rush in his movements. The gas station disappeared behind him. Ahead, just a quiet two-lane stretch through the Georgia pines. Not every battle spilled blood. Some were fought with memory, others with the way a man chose to carry what he'd lived through and not let it crush who he was still trying to be. The road curved like an old ribbon, worn and sun-bleached, but still holding together. Raymond drove with one hand on the wheel, window down, wind brushing his face. No radio, just the hum of the tires and the thoughts that never left him entirely. He wasn't thinking about the gang anymore, not directly. He knew they'd go home, some ashamed, some confused, maybe even angry, but they'd remember. That moment would stick with them, like conversations that echo years later for reasons you don't fully understand. He wasn't proud of what happened. He never was. Raymond didn't like being the one who had to teach hard truths. But sometimes, the world left you no other choice. He turned down the gravel road leading to his property. The trees loomed tall and quiet, filled with memory. These were the same trees that shaded his wife's grave. The same trees Terrence climbed as a boy, shouting from the branches that one day he'd be a soldier, just like his dad. Raymond parked by the porch and cut the engine. He sat there for a moment, looking at the weathered house in front of him, peeling paint, worn wood, and wind chimes made from spent casings. It was quiet, but not empty. The kind of silence that held stories. Ghosts that didn't haunt, they remembered. They leaned in doorways, lived in old photos, and sat quietly in empty chairs. He stepped out. His back ached more these days. His knees creaked louder than the porch boards. But his mind? Still sharp. Maybe sharper now that he'd learned to speak less. From the porch, he looked back at the road, thinking about the boy who came back. The one who didn't shout. The one who asked real questions. That was who he did it for. Not the loud ones. Not the ones throwing fists and empty threats. The quiet ones standing just behind them. The ones who still had a chance. He sank into the wooden chair beside the front window, next to a small metal table with an old pair of glasses and a folded newspaper. From his jacket, he pulled out a small notebook. He didn't write often, but sometimes thoughts needed a place to land. He opened to a blank page and scribbled. "Strength is knowing when not to strike. Wisdom is walking away with your soul intact. Real men leave scars they never show, and peace they never brag about." He set the notebook down and leaned back. Life doesn't hand out medals for restraint. No one gives you a trophy for swallowing your pride. But Raymond had learned something most folks never do. Being feared might keep people away, but being respected? That stays with them long after you're gone. He'd seen too many men die trying to prove themselves to people who didn't matter. Too many kids trying to fill the space where a father should have stood. He never wanted to be a legend. He just wanted to be a reason someone else lived to see another day. The sun dipped below the trees, spilling orange light across the porch. Raymond thought about the way the world had changed, louder voices, younger men confusing anger with strength. But now and then, someone listened. Someone stepped back. That was enough. He picked up his coffee mug, cold now, and took a sip anyway. Bitterness didn't bother him. Inside the house, folded in a frame, the flag waited. Terrence's flag. A good man. Better than he ever admitted to himself. Raymond looked toward it and whispered, "You keep watching, boy. Your old man's still out here. Still teaching." Then he closed his eyes, not to sleep, just to breathe. Because in a world full of noise, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stay calm.